Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful hump day. I know it has been a long week for me. I hope everyone else is having a somewhat easier one. Although the financial markets and the news, well, they're not really helping all that much, are they, guys? But good afternoon, Bear and Kukla and Mile High Trish and David here with the Apple. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this afternoon. Oh, Kukla, my throat is. I've still got a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be near as bad. And so my voice isn't giving out quite as quickly, and I'm definitely not feeling that scratchiness. I didn't even want to listen to the recordings of me on Monday because I felt like they probably sounded awful. At least that's how they sounded to me as I was speaking. But hopefully they weren't all that bad. Hopefully not. I do see that I am being told on my side that my connection is extremely unstable. And so if there are any delays in terms of the stream, my apologies there. I am not quite certain why that would be occurring. So hopefully it is coming through just fine on your end, and it's just trying to scare me over here on my side. But it has not been a fun day. That is for certain. For anyone that has been keeping an eye on the market, it has not been pretty, guys. It has not been pretty. And so we probably will, because I am not certain whether today everyone is, it's one of those things in cryptocurrency. Whenever the price is going down, everybody takes the day off. Whenever the markets are red, no one wants to think about crypto. No one wants to look at the charts. No one wants to do anything in regards to it. And then when everything's green and the market's going up, everybody wants to spend all day looking at their cryptocurrency. And so I'm not certain how that might go today. I don't know whether people may be hiding away from their computers and screens, trying to not look at their portfolios, whether it be cryptocurrency or traditional finance today. But that or maybe everyone's going to show up all the same. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, what is up? Overcoming Victory and Rhonda and Pirate 2 Godly. Thank you guys so much. And it has been. I'm glad to hear. Thank you, Bear. I'm glad to hear that the voice has improved. I definitely feel better. And so it's not like I ever really got sick, but for some reason my voice was just on its way out. Oh, of course, Kukla. Great thing to put in there. Please do keep in mind, everything on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and should not be intended as financial advice. Please seek out financial professionals before making any major decisions. Those same financial professionals that'll probably, they'll probably tell you right now is the perfect time to put all your money into the stock market, or tell you to invest in, 2% 10-year CDs, something of that nature. Overcoming Victory, it is. Everything is down. And we know the culprit. I mean, who always shows up to mess up the financial markets? It's always going to be Gary and the crew showing up. And so, of course, we have had a ton of bad economic data come out. I don't think it's really any surprise to the vast majority of us. And I honestly would assume that the economy is on a macro level, is in a far worse situation than they're even indicating. I would guesstimate that it's in a far worse situation. All right. And so, yeah, we will be jumping into that, though, throughout today. We've got a good few articles to go through. Mainly a bunch of different talking heads, all presenting their own different opinions. But we also did have some interesting news come out in regards to CZ, who is the head of Binance. Binance is the #1 exchange on the planet. CZ, during most bull runs, is the wealthiest man on the planet on account of his cryptocurrency holdings. And then, of course, when the markets crash, he is no longer. And so he is one of the richest men on paper in the world, in the same way that Elon Musk is the richest man in the world on paper. Same thing with Bill Gates. These guys don't actually have the amount of money that their Forbes list claims, because it takes into account unsold stocks, unsold cryptocurrencies, unsold properties, and assumes that they would be worth exactly the current amount if they were to try and go out there and actually sell. And so it's not entirely true, but CZ is one of those guys. He's got that kind of money, and he just got back his prison sentence. And it's far shorter than most people expected. Of course, many believe that he shouldn't have served any, but we will jump into that. Oh, good evening, Donna. And Richard. Ugh, I'm late. I'm scarfing a burger. Oh, I hope it is a good one, Richard. I hope it is a good one. Where from? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Are we talking about cookless cookies here, Richard? I'm waiting. I need even more. I need even more. And so we are going to go ahead and we're going to just jump into it today, because I will be on Whiskey and Wisdom, and we have a really awesome Whiskey and Wisdom group tonight. And so I'm very much looking forward to that one. I've got to make certain that I am ready for them, because there's some brilliant minds coming together for Whiskey and Wisdom this evening. And so I'm very much looking forward to that one. And so we're going to go ahead and start jumping into the news, because we do have some interesting stuff. Mainly, we have a lot of stuff that's not all that much fun to look at when you consider what it's doing to your portfolio. But, well, we got to look at it regardless. So, of course, when we come on over to just the charts on the whole, we see Bitcoin. It has broken below 60,000. And fairly substantially. Not that that was all that unexpected. Remember where I always talk about liquidations? And that means those liquidations usually set up right behind the resistance. And so we had major resistance sitting at 60K. And that means a lot of people that were the gamblers, the leverage traders, they had set up in positions right below that. And so, of course, we drop below 60K and we start to see the flash crash type action occur. And this is where liquidation after liquidation, each domino falls. And so do they continue until we get to a point where the dominoes are separated enough for one to fall without knocking over the next one. And so we have seen the market bouncing off of 56 and 57 throughout the day. We did see a slight recovery here. And actually, if you look right at the timing on that one at 14:55, so 2:55 right before 3. That would have been right after the Jerome Powell announcement. And so a lot of this price action in terms of the actual initial sales that started the domino effect, they were people that were predicting bad news. And so what ended up occurring is the same thing that always seems to do. It's, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. And so, the rumor, and in this case, people sold the rumor and then decided to start buying the news, but more people were not happy with it than were happy with it. And so I imagine that we are going to continue along having a hard time with 60K for a little while. Although we will see, as we jump into some of the articles, that we have a lot of different banks, ETFs, and funds that are feeling pretty confident about where they feel like the next level would be if we do continue to see any type of major sales. So we will jump into that. All right, though. Bear, back early 70s. I was exchange student in Germany. Went back to O'Hare after 8. So I had a hard time breathing Chicago air as soon as we deplane. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. I know for me, allergies are what always get me, Bear. I have allergies in the South and I have allergies nowhere else on the planet. And so the only thing that messes with me is southern grass. And I mean actual grass, guys. Southern grass. And when the oak and the pine trees start to go through pollinating season, I never make it through that one in North Carolina without getting at least some kind of sick. All right, though. Nothing looking great. The only thing that we can see here is that Solana is actually doing particularly well on the recovery. Somewhat surprising, although not really. if we think about Solana over the past couple of weeks, Solana was already kind of taking these hits. It's already faced that market correction. And so Solana most likely is going to be one of the first ones to get back out of it, assuming we don't have any major negative news come out about the project. So that is not too surprising. XRP, though, I would say XRP amongst all of the others. We see Bitcoin at 10.5% in 7 days, 4.5% in 24 hours. We come over and look at XRP, 3.6% down in 7 days, 2.4% up in 24 hours. XRP is holding extremely strong in comparison to the competition, outpacing Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. Essentially everybody but Solana, they're outpacing until we get down here to Tron, and they don't really count. I don't know who owns Tron. So now that we've seen a little bit of what's going on in terms of the market, remember, guys, when we're looking at this, we're really just here to look at the price of Bitcoin. It's the major indicator. If Bitcoin's going down, everybody's probably going down with it. And even if they aren't, if Bitcoin continues to fall, Solana will start to fall again. And so we see 5.1% gain for Solana over 24 hours. If Bitcoin starts to fall, Solana will start to fall with it. And so Solana is just quicker to recovery. It is not disconnected in terms of a direct correlation. And then, of course, our little Coinbase update on our staking as we keep up with this and see how we're doing. We are at 27 cents. We've made a whole 2 more cents since Monday. And we are still waiting to get our USDC payment. We have still not hit a month yet. What I would say, and I found this particularly interesting when I was actually looking at it, is that Ethereum claims a 2.57% APY. And remember, these APYs are predictors. They're not guarantees. They are predictive. And so what I did notice, though, is that with $29.26 and at a 2.57% APY, we've seen 6 cents come in from our Ethereum staking. And then on our Polkadot, we are at $13.63 of actual Polkadot. We've seen 10 cents come in at a 9.27% APY. Anyone else seeing the disparity here mathematically? So we have about $29 of Ethereum, and 3% APY has earned us 6 cents. $13.64 at 9.27 has earned us 10 cents. And that means if we're going off the math, Ethereum is actually outpacing the 2.57% APY that they're advertising. It's actually outpacing it substantially. And that I found interesting. I know that this is in most likely based off of market action. So that would probably mean that there were a lot of fees collected from the proof of stake node on Ethereum, and maybe not as many fees collected on the Polkadot proof of stake node. But otherwise, that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, is that it does seem like certain ones are kind of stretching out and other ones are completely failing us. Our Tezos with $11.46 has only earned 1 penny. That would place it far, far below all of our other options. I mean, even Matic is at 2 cents, and we've only got $11 in and at a 2.78% predicted APY. So I continue to be extremely unimpressed with the Tezos staking and remain far happier with Solana, Ethereum, and Polkadot at the moment. Of course, Atom, this is another one where it's not keeping up logically. And so I'm glad that we did this with small funds and that we get to keep up and see this as it occurs. But from what I can tell, we are essentially doing no good having Tezos, Matic, or Atom in our staking pools. And so I'm going to let it go a little bit longer, just as a matter of it hasn't been a month yet. I feel like that's too short of a time frame to go ahead and pull it. But if I were really worried about this money and like really, really needed this income right now, the whatever amount it was earning, I would have probably already pulled from all three it seems as if they do not add up in terms of the predicted percentages. Whereas Solana, is keeping up essentially exactly in tow with Polkadot and others. I mean, its percentage 9.27 on Polkadot. Solana's claiming 4.68, which is about exactly 50% of it. And look at that. It's earned exactly 50% as much as the Polkadot has. All the other numbers are adding up. Unfortunately, Atom, Matic, and Tezos are not adding up. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. And probably when I see the first month has occurred and we receive our first USDC earning, that is most likely when I will go ahead and actually sell off these three and rotate them into Solana, Ethereum, Polkadot, and USDC. And that is something that for me, I'm going to be patient with it, but it seems as if something is definitely not adding up there. And if this was thousands of dollars, it would be a substantial amount of not adding up. If we had $10,000 in there, well, I mean, when we look at $10,000 at a 9.27% APY, we're looking at $927 a year. If I were trying to build a passive income stream and I were going through and going, well, one whole month I just seemingly didn't get paid, that would be a huge issue. That would be a major flaw in the strategy. And so we'll be keeping an eye on this, guys. But as for now, for anyone else that has staked in, I would be curious for anyone that did join into the Coinbase staking, what kind of numbers they're seeing. Are their numbers kind of adding up with mine? Or are they also seeing the ones that don't seem to add up at all, like the Atom, the Matic, and etc.? Pirate 2 Godly, are they compounding interest or are we only getting interest on the amount staked? And so they are and should be actually compounding. Now, I do believe some of the pools require you to go in and actually make certain that you have fully staked. But let's come over here and actually look at it real quick. And so we can see that we have been paid in Polkadot 10 cents. And all of our Polkadot is staked inside of the staking contract. So yes, we are looking at compounding interest on our returns. So for anyone that was curious, that's a great question, Pirate 2 Godly. They are compounding. And so that would also end up being the same when we come over here and we look at the USDC, where it would be the same idea. It would be compounding on a monthly basis. Of course, for some of these other ones, keep in mind the compound rate is going to be different for each one. And so in the case of Polkadot, earning frequency, and this is an estimate, is estimated at every day. And so in that case, it would be compounding daily. Solana, every 3 days, estimated. And so if we assume the estimations are fairly accurate, then it would be compounding on a 3-day rate, on a 3-day compounding rate. Now, these funds are, these are not the craziest return rates on the planet, but they definitely beat the vast majority of traditional finance. And in the case of Polkadot or some of these other ones, we can see that Polkadot is also up 8.8% on the day. And so Polkadot is doing particularly well. Polkadot is recovering. And so not only are we earning more Polkadot by having it in the staking contract, but if, say, someday soon, Polkadot is worth infinitely more than it is today, we're going to have more to sell. So staking, especially with the Coinbase platform, is something that if you own the crypto, I highly advise. If you don't own the crypto, I don't necessarily think we should all go out there and buy a buttload of Polkadot just because they're offering a 9.27%. I think it's more a matter of if you own Polkadot, maybe consider staking it and earning some more Polkadot. The only one that I keep pointing out to folks that I am majorly intrigued in is the USDC pool with a 5.1% APY, because that is just liquid money. I can take that money back out. The only risk I have is the same risk that we're all dealing with nowadays, which is the massive inflationary concern from the U.S. fiat currency. So, continuing onwards. All right, guys. No surprise here. Crypto Quant, when we come over here and we look at our daily update, is saying, well, it doesn't look good. Exchange reserves are bad, are negative, and that means more people have sent Bitcoin onto the exchanges, which means they might be considering selling it. The only positive we have here is that we have seen a lot of people who were buying during these dips. They are taking their crypto off of the exchange. Of course, Coinbase Premium, which is the U.S. investors buying pressure. We got a little sad face. Same thing with the ETFs. Same thing with the Asian markets. All negatives. All negatives. Now, in terms of some positive news, is our long-term holders are not wavering. And so funding rate, this is in regards to people that have taken long leveraged positions or long positions in terms of leveraged or market option trading. And so they have taken a very positive outlook. And that means that people that are holding Bitcoin for the long term are willing to pay fees to the people that are holding it short term, the short sellers, the bears, in order to maintain their long positions and their long options. In other words, people with a lot of money are planning on the price of Bitcoin going back up, and they're willing to suffer these temporary losses in order to hold for that future. And so that, to me, was pretty much the only general good news that we can see from Crypto Quant. But moving on to more of the news. Binance crypto boss Changpeng Zhao, also known colloquially in all of cryptocurrency, he is known as CZ. No one calls him Changpeng. He's CZ. There are memes about the guy. He's famous in crypto circles. And so when it comes down to that one, if you do see CZ mentioned, they're talking about this guy. He is a character of sorts. CZ has evaded different government and central banks shutting down Binance now for many years. He very famously managed to somehow pack up an entire company and move it to Malta overnight at one point, I think 6 or 7 years ago. He's kind of a boss. And so the big news here is that he is going to be serving 4 months in prison. And so the founder of the world's largest crypto exchange has been sentenced to 4 months in prison in the United States for allowing criminals to launder money on his platform. And so this is, he gave the politicians what they wanted so that they would give him his freedom somewhat sooner. CZ resigned from Binance in November and pleaded guilty to violating U.S. money laundering laws. Binance was ordered to pay $4.3 billion after a U.S. investigation found it helped users bypass sanctions. Prosecutors had sought a 3-year sentence at a sentencing hearing on Tuesday in Seattle. Judge Richard Jones said Zhao put Binance growth and profits over compliance with U.S. laws and regulations. So, of course, this all just kind of goes in line with what they want us to believe in terms of the government, and that cryptocurrency bad, cryptocurrency used for crime, cryptocurrency is that's what our enemies use, and so they all it cost them was giving him 2 years and 8 months off of his sentence for them to get him to go ahead and say, yeah, sure, I did it. It doesn't mean anything for CZ, of course not. CZ has a $33 billion fortune. So the $4.3 billion that they asked his company to pay, CZ could pay that with his piggy bank money. He wouldn't even be dipping into the savings account. David, he looks like the brain on Piggy in the Brain. Yeah, he kind of does. He seems like a guy that would probably be better served with a hat. I think a hat might help him out. Oh, Desiree DeWise. Hey, Z. Oh, and hey, Des. Can you speak to the XRP slash IQD rumblings? Now, I would have to ask Des if you may have anything more specific on that one, because there are so many things out there that are spoken about online in regards to XRP and what the blockchain's being built for, and usually it's tied to more of a financial reset, not so much a financial revaluation. And so I'd be very curious what you have heard yourself there, Des. I would be happy to jump into that one. Theresa Hart, he won't be going to prison. He'll be serving his time at a spa. I mean, it'll be club fed. It'll be club fed at the very least. I doubt that he'll miss out on any tennis matches or anything of that nature while he serves his posh 4 months. Not in the slightest. But in all honesty, I would say do I think he's likely a great guy? Probably not. But I do respect the guy a lot. He has boldly stood up against regulators, central banks, governments now for years, and he has always won, always beaten them. And so I got to give it to him. I got to give it to him. I don't know. I've never gotten to meet the guy, never gotten to actually really, learn about his politics, his ideology. I know that he's extremely libertarian. Beyond that, I know that he's funny and he loves flipping the middle finger to governments around the world that try to mess with cryptocurrency. And so that is all I know of the guy in regards to his personal life. But we will have to see. I'm certain that we will get reports about how well he is doing in prison throughout that 4-month sentence. So I will make certain to be looking for those articles. All right, though, going into all the nasty news. Jerome Powell's pivot heralds a boring summer for Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve isn't sticking with a schedule of interest rate cuts that it predicted earlier in this year, and that makes navigating the market more challenging. Just a few months ago, most economists expected the Federal Reserve to kickstart rate cuts by May. All signs pointed to this. The fight against inflation appeared to be coming to an end. Yeah, right. I don't know who bought that, but jobs data promised a cooling labor market on the horizon, and the consumer confidence began to falter. Fast forward to May's Federal Open Market Committee meeting, however, and the hopes of a rate cut in the first half of 2024 are quickly diminishing. Indeed, it appears likely the Fed will hold rates where they are for much longer than anyone could have imagined back in January. Some market commentators even think we're stuck with higher for longer until 2025, despite the pressure of an imminent presidential election. Yeah. Would have to say if I were under any delusion that Joe Biden had a chance of winning this election, I would be very upset by the Fed's move because it is not going to make his job any easier. Luckily, the polling already indicates he doesn't stand a snowball's chance. So, but I'm certain that there are some Democratic talking heads that are seething over over Jerome Powell's decision today. So, whether rates stay put until September next January, the May FOMC meeting was certainly a far cry from December 2023 when Jerome Powell first mentioned rate cuts, sending markets into a frenzy. Now we're seeing a much more hawkish committee, resolute in its restrictive monetary policy stance in the face of stubborn inflation and a labor market that refuses to stumble. So I know this is likely something that you had been hearing about from other sources today, although it is pretty hot news in terms of the announcement. But of course, not anything we didn't expect. It was bad news. I feel like on a lot of these, we really should all just start a gambling company of some kind. We could make big money just betting what's about to happen next when it comes to a lot of these different things in regards to the financial markets, because it seems as if the people on the news have absolutely no idea how this works. It doesn't take anything more than looking at history and looking at what happens when governments hold and try to maintain fiscal policies the way that we have for the past 2 decades, and then done even worse in the past 3 years. And what happens if we were to look throughout history at what occurs? It wouldn't really be a question where our markets are heading. We would know that we are looking towards a future of stagflation, inflation, and massive, massive, massive issues for anyone that is attempting to survive on an average household income. And that's because we're going to continue to see the price of bread, the price of milk, the price of daily goods go up, and we're going to continue to see a diminished value for our US dollar as our government continues to try and fight a losing battle to protect the petrodollar. I think when you take all of these things and place them into consideration, you have to really go macro and think about the fact that we're getting hit from both sides. Our government is massively printing US dollars. Our US dollars are being used less internationally. We're getting hit on both sides. We have inflation in the form of the US government continuing to print, and then we have a reduced demand. And so that means supply is up, we're printing more, supply is up, and demand is lowering. And as we all learned at some point throughout our schooling, probably one of the only times I think in public school education that they ever even bust out something financial in even the slightest form is a supply demand chart. That's actually, funnily enough, I think that's the only time I can remember in my K through 12 education where we ever discussed anything economic or financial in a logical sense. It was a supply demand chart. And so if we think about it from that very, very basic understanding, it's very simple to see what's going to continue to occur. The prices of our goods are going to continue to rise, and they're going to rise not only on account of inflation, but because there is a reduced demand for the US dollar internationally. All right, back to it. We all know these things are coming. All right. Desiree, I would say that in terms of the connection between XRP and the Iraqi dinar, I have heard different people throw out that there is a connection between XRP and IQD. I would say from my side, I don't believe that in the slightest form or fashion. There is no proof. There is absolutely zero. The only correlation that could ever be made in that sense is that maybe the Iraqi government is looking towards a central bank digital currency when they do attempt to make any moves. And maybe that would be the only way they could end up being connected. Tahoe, Zester Z, I'm new to crypto and asking if you can confirm that XLM and XRP are asset backed, and we'll continue after the GCR. Tahoe, XLM and XRP are not asset backed in any form or fashion. They are not gold backed, they are not silver backed, and they're not designed to ever be gold or silver backed. The company has no indication of that ever occurring. And so I know that that is a major myth out there that has been spread. I am sorry to be the bearer of of ill tidings, if that's to those that do think it is, but it is not. What XRP and XLM are building, and this is important, is that there is a future where XRP and XLM as a technology are being used to create an actual gold-backed asset. And so Tahoe, what XRP and XLM have done is they have created a way for gold or silver to be tokenized. And what that means is that you would be able to have a currency, have an actual form of money. I guess at that point, it would no longer even be a currency. You can build that on their blockchains. They have created the technology to tokenize real world assets. And that could lead to a world where we see people paying fees in XRP or XLM in order to send their gold-backed currency. And so XRP and XLM themselves would not be backed by gold, but they would be what you have to spend to send your gold or silver to make a purchase, for a bank to transfer money. It would be, in that hypothetical scenario, it would be the currency utilized in order to move gold and silver backed currencies around. And that is where there's something very valuable that they're building. And so I am not in any way poo-pooing upon XRP or XLM. I just look at it and see a different business model than what many have kind of thrown out there. And XRP and XLM as companies, and so we're talking about Ripple Labs and then the Stellar Foundation on the other side, although I use the names, without worrying about it. But they are creating this future world. And so that is what's important. That's what's valuable, is the ability to tokenize real world assets. That is what I'm interested in. That's why I'm excited to be an XRP and XLM holder. But I think we have to kind of think about it in the same way that I own Chainlink. Chainlink is built on the Ethereum blockchain. I hold my Chainlink, but I need Ethereum to buy my Chainlink, to sell my Chainlink, to send my Chainlink. And so I need Ethereum in order to hold Chainlink. So think about it from that sense. I need XRP in order to hold tokenized gold or silver. That would be the way to look at it. And that does mean, though, that think about it, the price of XRP and XLM can't be but so high. Otherwise, we would be creating an issue where it would become very, very expensive for us to send gold and silver. So many different moving wheels when it comes down to that one. But I am glad to be able to help in regards to that one. Both Desiree and Tahoe, very, very happy to be able to go through it, because I don't want people buying tokens for the wrong reasons. I know that some people have bought XRP or XLM because they believe they have to have it in order to be a part of some type of future financial system. That doesn't make any sense. And so, those are the type of things that I do want. I just want to make certain that people are knowledgeable about why they are buying these different cryptocurrencies. In the same way that I want people to be knowledgeable about when they make any purchase. It seems unfair for us to live in a world where we have so much information hidden away from us. We don't even know sometimes when we're sitting at the devil's dinner table. All right, though. Jumping back onto it. And Melissa, all right. Oh, well, Rhonda, that is a good explanation, sister. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I hope that I managed to get that one into an easy metaphor for everyone to understand. And then Melissa Morris, that's why I hold it. That is awesome, Melissa. And that's why I hold it. I hold XRP and XLM because they are going to, at some point, be utilized to move tokenized assets around. And I hope to make some money along with everyone else when that does occur. And it already is occurring, to be fair. Technically, XLM has already tokenized silver, and so it exists now. All right, 3 signs that hint that Bitcoin's price is nearing a bottom. So the result of today's Federal Reserve minutes, Bitcoin miners' robustness and increasing stablecoin demand in China could be signs that BTC has bottomed. I love when they go ahead and take a long article and make it that easy to get the entire gist of. This is a fun one for anyone that does want to go through. The part of this that I would kind of think is, in all honesty, the most interesting to me is that there has been a massive increase in Chinese buyers attempting to purchase US dollars. Now, why this is occurring? Well, we could predict that it's most likely that there's a lot of Chinese investors that are worried about the state of the yuan. That in and of itself could potentially be it. They could be worried about a CCP crackdown, in which case they would be trying to get money out of the country because they know they're not getting anywhere with their yuan, assuming that the Communist Party turns against them. There are a multitude of different possibilities here, but it is particularly interesting to see. And it is something where cryptocurrency is really the only market where we can actually see this information and know that it's true, because we can see the blockchain. Any average person can go out and verify this information. Now, is it going to take them a lot of time to verify it? Yes, it's going to. But we all can. And so when we get to see this information coming in from the blockchain, we're really getting an indicator of a larger, more macro level issue or movement that is occurring, because we know that China's not going to tell us. We know that China's journalists aren't allowed to tell us, at least if they plan on being a journalist for very long. And we know that our government, when it comes to China, Russia, and Iran, and all of our quote unquote adversaries, that we can't necessarily trust what they say. But luckily, with cryptocurrency, it's not a matter of debate, it's numbers. And so we know that Chinese investors, Chinese citizens are attempting to try and get out of their native currency, and they desperately would like to get it into a stable coin, something that they could potentially flee the country with, and it still be there for them when they get on the other side. So very, very interesting one. And this is a whole other aspect of the transparency of the blockchain that's good to know about. This could be taken and utilized everywhere. I saw a funny one the other day. The blockchain and the future of our financial system would ensure that no one ever overpays for a car. Why? Well, because I can go online and I can see the exact amount of money that everybody else paid for that same model of Ford Ranger. I'm not trusting Blue Book or Angie's List or whatever the heck they're called nowadays. Kelly's Blue Book. It's Kelly. I don't know why we all trust Kelly to know the price of all the cars, but apparently Kelly knows. But we wouldn't have to go to a company like that. We would go directly to the blockchain and we would see how much each person has paid. We'll see when investors in China are trying to flee their currency. These are very, very intriguing parts of our future that I think we need to keep in mind. And also, we need to consider the possibilities. Most people haven't even figured out what to do with crypto. The experts in crypto don't even know what to do with the blockchain technology. We are discovering new applications on a daily basis, and the ability to sit around and figure out what Chinese investors and what Chinese citizens are feeling like on a daily basis and actually know it's true. Yet another thing that we're seeing. All right, jumping forward. Most of these are just different talking heads talking about the same exact meeting. And so my apologies for the extras on that one. I was just going through and reading each of the different analysts' opinions. When it comes down to it, they're all saying the same thing with different words. The economy sucks. Inflation's going to get worse. We might be suffering stagflation, but we're not certain yet. But we are certain that we aren't. But we are certain that we are. It's useless. You can't trust them with any of the numbers they throw out there, unfortunately. But what we do know, Bitcoin trades around 57K, as we had seen at the beginning when we were looking over here. And it seems as if we are looking at a slight correction that does seem to be coming back up. I wouldn't put any faith in that one. I think actually down here, we probably see what in my opinion, was the most profound of the different talking heads' opinions. Bitcoin could further drop as low as 50K, Standard Charter says. The reasoning behind this one is actually solid, as opposed to the vast majority of the other analysts. This is rock hard, cement worthy level of logic. The cryptocurrency is now trading below the average spot ETF purchase price of 58,000. And this could trigger liquidations, the bank said in a report. This is a logical number to look towards. We have had a vast majority of these new ETF buyers are new to cryptocurrency. This is their first time seeing their portfolio in the negative. It's their first time. They're new to crypto. They're not used to the volatility, and now they're negative. That could easily lead for enough of the ETFs to have enough outflow, enough Bitcoin being sold, coming back out into fiat to trigger another round of liquidations for all the people that bet that it was going to keep going up. For all the gamblers, for all the leveraged traders, we could see this indicate an actual next leg down if it does occur. Of course, Standard Charter does say Bitcoin could target 50 to 52K on the downside. The bank said Bitcoin is now trading below the average spot ETF purchase. Risk assets like crypto are feeling the pinch due to rising macro headwinds and falling liquidity. So, the bank notes that headlines around the Hong Kong spot ETF launch were also poor, as attention was focused on the turnover volume of 11 million rather than the net asset position of the new ETFs, which was pretty good. The bank advises buying Bitcoin if it reaches 50 to 52K range, or if the US CPI on the 15th, a measure of inflation, is, and I love how they use bunny ears here, friendly. Don't know what they mean there, but I do kind of know what they mean. So this is Standard Chartered, and they are saying 50 to 52K range is their target, or they're waiting until the 15th. And so they're not planning on spending any money unless we continue to see the price drop, or until the 15th, when they're hoping for some slightly more positive information. All right. Continuing forward, Bitcoin tumbles below 60K. This is just another one, but it did include one extra little fact, risking deeper pullback as crypto markets endure the worst month since the FTX crash. FTX, guys, remember that is Sam Bankman-Friedman. I can never get that one organized in my brain or with my tongue, but that is his company. He was the main guy behind FTX. He was the one that was doing all kinds of different risky things. He's the one that's planning on spending quite a few decades in jail, although he is planning on ratting out a bunch of celebrities to potentially reduce his prison sentence. So fingers crossed we get some good ones on that one, because I'd be happy to give him, I'd be happy if they gave him a few years off if he's willing to actually rat out what some of these different Hollywood elites are doing. Although they just have to make certain that we never let SBF ever have money again, because we know what he's going to do with it. He's going to donate it to Joe Biden or somebody else of the same ilk. So let's just keep him away from financial institutions. Let him rat out all the celebrities. Then he can go do whatever he wants. I don't care. But this has been the worst month since the FTX crash. All right. Bitcoin's euphoria phase cools, but a BTC bottom could be near. This is according to Glassnode. Actually, I don't know if I've ever showed y'all Glassnode, and so that would not be a bad site to actually include in the links for today, because Glassnode does a ton of different market research, and they have entirely changed their website. But Glassnode also does a regular release of information, and their standard is free. And so I do not want to click that because it's going to reveal all of my personal information. But we will have a Glassnode update tomorrow. And going back to that story, what Glassnode does is it usually is a major indicator in terms of greed versus it's that greed indicator. Is the market being greedy, or is the market scared? When the market's greedy, people are being far too wanton with their investments. It's a greed phase. It's FOMO. It's people buying. They're not considering the fundamentals. They're not considering any market factors. It's just greed. And then we go into the fear side. The fear side is when the market, there's nothing wrong with it, but people are still too scared to dip their toes back in. And so we always kind of have that back and forth. And Glassnode is always the major indicator in terms of it. They're the major source that tracks these statistics. And so they are seeing the euphoria phase cool down. And so in my opinion, that is kind of a good thing, because people are going to maybe quit being quite as impatient, greedy with the market. But it also could be an indicator that we're getting closer to a fear cycle. And if we get into a fear cycle, then we're going to see people get far, far more panicked about their investments. And that is when you start to see truly insane crypto crashes. To use one as an example would be like the 2020 crash right at the beginning of COVID, right when they announced all the major shutdowns and they started closing down the whole planet. The crypto markets flash crashed, not quick. They crashed like an absolute ton of lead falling from the sky. They just went crashing. And that is when you enter into that panic stage. And so we want to avoid the panic stage, but we also don't really want to sit around in the euphoria phase either, because it is a limiting factor as well. And so we will have to see. And next time we're up, I'm going to make certain that Glassnode is actually another source that we start using for each of our different streams. Coming with another talking head, Bitcoin falls below 57. Market analysts doubt a quick recovery. So negative information coming out on this one. And then one, though, that was somewhat interesting is just tying together this same thing that we keep seeing each time we get together, guys. Every time we look at the news, we see another central bank, another treasury department telling us about how crypto is used to commit crimes. They're going to keep doing this. Now, what they don't want you to know is that over 90% of all criminal activity on the planet is conducted in this. That is what it's conducted in. The criminal money on this planet is the US dollar. It always has been. It probably always will be. The US dollar is what criminals use. When people buy drugs, they buy drugs with US dollars. When people sell guns in the middle of Africa, they sell them in US dollars. It's US dollars. And so you're going to keep seeing this, though, guys. You're going to see the UK, the US, the Chinese government, the Russian government, yada, yada, yada. They're all going to tell you cryptocurrency is used for crime. And that's because they just don't want you looking at their money. Because I guarantee that the vast majority of crime in the UK is conducted in what currency? The British pound. The vast majority of criminal activity in Brazil conducted in the Brazilian real. The vast majority of criminal activity in Canada is conducted in the Canadian dollar. And if it's not, it's conducted in the US dollar. And so we're going to see this. You're always going to see this, guys. It's never ending. It's never ending. They're never going to quit. They're going to keep saying it until they convince enough people to believe it, or until they eventually realize that it's not going to work on us. That evil, evil cryptocurrency. All right, though, for our last link of the day, Tether nets record $4.5 billion profit in Q1 2024, majority from Bitcoin and gold. I thought that was a particularly interesting one. For everyone to check out. And they are referencing that gold number, actually, because Tether started offering tokenized gold. And so you can actually already purchase tokenized gold via Tether. It has been created. It has been built. Do I trust Tether? No, not in the slightest. But apparently a lot of other people are. And so what Tether has actually gone about doing is they have started to actually back up their tokens with other assets. And so Tether's stablecoin is now backed by $3.65 billion of gold. The Tether money is backed by $5.37 billion of Bitcoin, $2.31 billion of other investments, $1.83 billion of other cash and cash equivalents, and $90.87 billion in U.S. treasuries, either directly or indirectly. This is interesting. Tether appears to be making the move towards being actually asset and resource backed at the fastest rate of any stablecoin, besides maybe Paxos. Paxos may be beating them on that one, but they're not near as big. Tether is the biggest dog in the whole dog park. They run the show in terms of the vast majority of stablecoin purchases and trading pairs, and they are putting a massive effort towards backing their stablecoin with gold and Bitcoin. I thought this was extremely interesting, and it's working extremely well for them. Nets record $4.5 billion profit in 3 months. $4.5 billion in 3 months. I wonder if they wouldn't mind giving me a grant or a loan. Let's find here, though, if they do have any numbers on that amount of gold that was purchased. No, they do not indicate where they made that purchase from. Approximately $1 billion stem from operating profits derived from United States Treasury holdings, while the remainder of $3.52 billion comprised the market-to-market gains in the firm's Bitcoin and gold positions. And so that means that a large part, $3.52 billion of their profit for the first quarter, is because the price of gold and the price of Bitcoin has gone up. I suppose that makes sense. All right, though, guys, all these links will be inside of the Discord. So for anyone that is interested, remember to come on over and check out in the today's link section. And so that is over here on the Discord channel. You can go through and see the links from Monday, and you'll be able to see the links from today after the stream completes. And after we see if there's any good questions in here that I need to jump into and answer. Oh, David, you're getting ready. Oh man, I can't wait to get ready as well. I think I may get done with this and actually go off and maybe. I seem to. Okay, I am back. My screen just shut off for a second for some reason. Okay, there we go. We're just lagging. We're just lagging on my side, but I'm going to try to get through the last of these questions and end this. Since my connection seems to be fighting me anyway, it's perfect timing. But crypto is the new high-speed transaction highway with multiple exits. Exactly, Dwayne. It's a high-speed highway that has multiple layers built onto it, and so we have to kind of imagine it like being in the HOV lane, or being in being in the bus lane, or being in the main traffic lane. It's like that, where they're not just a fast, high-speed highway. There's different tiers and different speeds and different levels. We have to think 4-dimensionally in that highway. It's a whole new. I'm thinking like Tron. I'm thinking of Tron as I'm visualizing it and the roads in it. All right. All right. But I'm trying to, there we go. Rhonda Gill. And so if we think about it from that fashion, cryptocurrency as a technology will not go away. It is potentially the greatest evolution in economics in human history. I cannot imagine anything from a financial system and financial that could be larger than the very idea of blockchain technology. When it comes to our democratic election, there has never been a greater evolution in terms of technology towards achieving that goal of a truly fair and equal society in regards to our voice and ability to vote than the blockchain technology. And that is just the beginning of its application. So cryptocurrency as a technology will never go away. If crypto as an idea, as a monetary form goes away, it will be because the governments have won and we all live on authoritarian CBDC world. And so I truly pray that we never see a world without crypto, because if we do see a world without cryptocurrency, we have lost. We have lost. The game is over. The shtick is done. We have lost. The governments will never give us the ability to have a financial future ever again because they will never have to. Oh, yep, there you go. That will actually be what I am going to go ahead and leave it on because I am going and my signal is going out, but I'm going to leave it with TikTok's comment there, looking for the panic of people dumping dollars as it crashes. Crypto will be there. It'd be their go as a last resort. Absolutely. Crypto needs to exist so that our governments can't take advantage of us. If we have crypto, we have somewhere to run away. Our government cannot abuse us if we have somewhere else to go. If they take away our ability to crypto, they have taken away all our alternative to them. Look at Venezuela. Venezuelan citizens, they all own cryptocurrency because their currency is worthless. Look at Zimbabwe. All of their citizens are trying to get cryptocurrency because their currency is worthless. Look at Nigeria. Their central bank printed dollars, destroyed their currency's value. They all want cryptocurrency. Look at El Salvador. This is a never-ending cycle that keeps occurring, where if governments mistreat us, citizens go and buy crypto. We need to keep that ability as a second chance. We need it. We need to make certain that it's always an option. Not that it means that we need to use it all the time. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be buying things in Bitcoin. But I truly hope there's never comes a day where Bitcoin doesn't exist. Because then if my government shuts down my bank account, I am 100% truly in trouble. I have no alternative. All right, though, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I am having issues with my signal, and so I'm going to go ahead and run off, and I will see everyone at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Whiskey and Wisdom. Please do tune in for tonight's because we have an amazing group with, I believe it is going to be Mike Church, Andy Scheckman, the original Mark Z, and I think I'm just going to be in there, a fly on the wall, listening to these guys share their wisdom. And so I will look forward to seeing everyone at that one. And if not, I'll be back on Friday at 5 p.m. here on the Crazy Kryptonaut channel to hopefully be looking at a slightly more energetic market. So thank you, guys. Hope you have a wonderful one.